Thank you for joining me today. I love Forbidden Broadway, so I'm super excited to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love Forbidden Broadway too.
And so for the first part, can you please explain a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Yeah, sure. I'm Chris Collins. Oh my God. Sorry. My laundry timer just went off. What a great way to start. um, I'm Chris Collins-Pisano. I am a New York City based actor. And I've been working on and off with Forbidden Broadway since the summer of 2019.
That's awesome. And so what was the audition process like for Forbidden Broadway?
Okay, so it's kind of interesting. It kind of depends if you're going in for like, well, I got kind of lucky because when I went in, it was for a summer stock production that Gerard Alessandrini, who has written all the Forbidden Broadway lyrics since the '80s, and came up with the whole kind of show as a thing and a concept. He was directing it, and so I got material when I went in. So I got a few parody songs. I had like the Jean Valjean parody from Les Mis, which is "God It's High" instead of "Bring Him Home," and it's all about the song being way too high. And then I did like a Phantom of the Opera one, which is like a Michael Crawford impression, which was a lot of fun. And then they kind of just throw things out at you. They kind of throw different like voices and people out just to see if you can or if you have anything prepared. And then when I auditioned for Forbidden Broadway after the summer stock, it was more of like kind of like I did a song just they want you to do a song just as so they get to know you and kind of like who you are as a performer. And then it was just like, do you know this? What about this? Can you do this? And some of them are good. You're just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Some of them are bad. And they also want because Gerard's a really he's a really specific guy and he's a really unique and super talented guy. And he likes, the people that come through and out of Forbidden Broadway. It is kind of like a narrow sect of performers with kind of the skill set that it requires. So the audition's also kind of like an interview in itself to see if he and you can like
Yeah.
work together and have like a collect because it can be collaborative sometimes.
That's awesome. And so what got you into theater?
What got me into theater? Oh boy. Okay. When I was in third grade, I started playing violin. I started playing violin because Scooby Doo said he wanted to play violin in an episode of Scooby Doo that I watched when I was a kid. So I started doing that, and then that got me like really into music and really helped me because it helped me learn how to read music and do like music theory and stuff. So I played violin until like I was through high school, but when I was in middle school, I started doing the plays, and it kind of I don't know, it just kind of like I think it was probably comedy because when I was in elementary school, there was like a couple like school plays we did. And I remember like really remembering what it was like to like get laughs and, be crazy and like get people to like, laugh at you and with you on stage. So I think that probably like was the first bite of that kind of stuff. And then, in high school is when I really started getting serious about it. And then I went to college for it. I went to University of Cincinnati's Conservatory, CCM, and ever since I did that, it's just been kind of doing it as much as I can, if I can.
That's awesome. And so for those who don't know, what is Forbidden Broadway?
Okay, so Forbidden Broadway was started in a little supper club in the early 1980s by Gerard Alessandrini, his friend Nora Mae Lang, and their pianist Fred Bart, their pianist and friend and collaborator Fred Bart. Gerard and Fred are still doing it. Nora unfortunately passed away a while ago, but it was really because of her and Gerard's performances and Fred's music direction that, there's a long, long story. It's all tied in with the actress Lauren Bacall and the show she was doing at the time. And she had a feud with the New York Times reviewer who was really big at the time. I want to say Frank Rich, but if I'm wrong, Gerard and Fred will strike me down and that'll be fine. But him and Lauren Bacall had this big feud with each other. And when they started doing Forbidden Broadway at Paulson Supper Club on 72nd on the Upper West Side, he heard about it because he lived in the Dakota right down the street where John Lennon and Yoko Ono lived. And so he went to see it. And then because they had Nora Mae Ling did a Lauren Bacall number, which was because I think in the show, I think it was Applause, I want to say. Maybe maybe it wasn't Applause. It was different. I don't know. I'm gonna get in trouble. And it was like, she was like, I'm a girl, but I'm one of the guys. Like, and so they made it, the parody was I'm one of the girls, but I sound like a guy because she had such a low, husky singing voice. And Frank Rich, if that was who he was, loved that parody so much that he wrote this like glowing piece in the New York Times about it back when it was such like a monumental like force for like making or breaking shows. And so, he posted, and then everybody like saw it and read it, and all of a sudden all these celebrities, all these famous people, all these Broadway audiences started coming to Forbidden Broadway. And it also opens the same season that Merrily We Roll Along opened. And that's like the original Forbidden Broadway poster is a straight up parody of that like rooftop poster from the original production. And that started Gerard's relationship with Stephen Sondheim, because Hal Prince and Stephen Sondheim came to see Forbidden Broadway because it was really popular and Merrily was flopping really hard.
Yeah.
So they went to see if it was like if they were going to be okay, or if this was going to be like the final nail in their show's coffin. And then Stephen Sondheim like really enjoyed the parody, and Hal Prince liked it, and they like talked to Gerard, and so it's been a while. Ever since then, it ran continuously off Broadway for years and years and years, like long scale productions in Boston. It ran for like 7 years the first time it was there. Chicago, I think it had a really good run. They've played in Detroit and LA. There's been other editions. They did a Forbidden Hollywood trying to roast, because Gerard's obsessed with Golden Age Hollywood. They tried to do a Forbidden Christmas, I think. There was a very short-lived Forbidden Vegas production that happened. It's this whole, and it's all from his brain. And I mean, but the material keeps on coming because people keep writing shows.
That's awesome. And so throughout the whole show, do you have a favorite song, a parody song that you perform, and why?
Okay, let's see. My favorite that I've probably performed when I first did it off Broadway and Next Generation, we did this full parody of the Daniel Fish, that Oklahoma revival that was in the round, and they played instruments, and it was very like different arrangements and stuff. So we did a really fun parody called Woklahoma of that, which was like really long. We like parodied a bunch of the show. So that was really fun. And then this last one, I did a Ben Platt at the Palace number, and it was because he sang Maybe This Time at his Palace show. So I did Maybe Next Time, and it was like I'd show up in the boa, and it was probably one of the meaner ones that we did. But my favorite Forbidden Broadway number of all time is this Robert Goulet number that we do on the road, and it's all him like forgetting his lyrics, and he sings like he's trying to sing South Pacific, but he's singing Camelot. It's like because he was really big, and then as he went on, he got his lines started to go more and more. But the number is so funny, and it's based on this guy that tried to come in and audition for Forbidden Broadway with a Bob Goulet impression, and it's pretty much like it's kind of like based on this guy's audition and some other stuff, because he was so bumbly and bad that it became this like, and that number is just like. Not everybody knows who Robert Goulet is anymore, but it doesn't even matter. It's hysterical.
That's hilarious. And so what advice would you give to your younger self?
To my younger self, I would say, man, that is hard. This is going to be so corny. There's a movie called Croupier, and it's like one of Clive Owen's first movies, and he plays this like journalist or this author moonlighting as a card dealer in this like casino. And he has this quote in the movie where he says, hang on tightly, but let go lightly. And I think that that's kind of what you have to do with your career, with auditions, and with preparation. Because what I wanted to say when you asked me was, I would tell the younger me, like, you really can't prepare enough. You really you need to know, like, try to prepare as much as you can for everything, and never take like the time you have before an audition for granted. But at the same time, and with shows, you want to like make the most of them, because they don't come around necessarily that often. At least in my career, they haven't come around that often. It's, here and there, and you do it when you can. But at the same time, I think that if you take it too seriously, you end up like taking it too seriously, and then you don't have as much fun, and you can get caught up in wanting it to be a really good experience. And they're all going to be good and educational and amazing experiences. And you have to be able to, prepare and prepare and prepare, but also know when to like take a second and enjoy it. And an audition should be really fun. I heard like an Ed Harris quote recently where it was like, how many auditions do you do versus how many shows, jobs you book or whatever. So this is really like your opportunity to act and to have fun and to like explore a character. And, if you treat it like a scary thing in a job interview every time, it's going to become work, and it's going to become a chore and something you fear. But so I'm like trying to do that now in my life and like try and turn around and make it not something I'm scared of, but turn it into that opportunity to just get to act.
Question kind of follows with the last one, but what advice would you give to younger performers who like to pursue acting as a career?
Oh man, I mean, you just gotta like if you're gonna do it, you really just have to commit to it. Especially nowadays, I think it's even harder now. There's a lot of actors in New York. There's a lot of conservatories you can come from. A lot of them, like there's a ton of people. There's a lot of people in equity right now. And you just, you have to make it a priority and work really hard and always be proud. Like you want to walk out of an audition, regardless of how you did, being proud of like the preparation you did to get there, because then it's not on you, because that's all your work is. Once you walk out of the room, it's out of your hands and it's out of your control. So just be proud of what you can do up to that point. And, you just have to really try and love it and make your life outside of it rich and important, because it's hard. It's really hard. And the stuff you have going on and the friends you have and the places you go, if you're living in New York and exploring the city, like that, your whole life has to be like a full thing. Otherwise, because that's what also brings it to, the work you're doing.
That's awesome. And so that wraps up the question portion. But with Forbidden Broadway being a parody thing, I normally like to do guess the lyrics. But we're gonna do parody of the lyrics for you.
Okay, I'll try and do Gerard proud here. I'll do my best.
So this one's My Days. I'm gonna give you the first line, and then you make up whatever you think is.
Okay.
I can feel something growing. It is small, but it's shifting the ground.
It's a spider mom, was what I would say. There's a spider mom.
That's a solid lyric.
Thank you. I'm warming up. It'll get better. Don't worry.
The next one is Defying Gravity.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
So Unlimited, together we're unlimited.
Unlimited, together we're unlimited. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Glinda. Okay, let's see. Unlimited, together we're unlimited. Oh my God, what should it be? Oh my God. Why? Oh my God, it's so bad. All my parody lyrics are about food. They're so bad. Okay. Unlimited, together we're unlimited. And with this punch card, we can get this treat for free, Glinda. I'm trying to match the rhyme. That's the problem.
I mean, if it's the song right before intermission, you can use that punch card to get the intermission snacks.
See, okay, you're with me here. Okay, I appreciate it.
This one,
you have me. I'm sweating right now. This doesn't usually.
This one's Don't Rain on My Parade.
Perfect.
I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum.
I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum. And if I stand out, I'll turn out that, sir. I wish I'm going to take it. Okay. Let's see. I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum. But now my hand hurts. I need some ice, sir. Could you even get it nice, sir? I really, really need it. She's beating that drum.
That's awesome.
I appreciate you for saying so.
So you were speaking in Ben Platt earlier.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be doing Waving Through a Window now.
Oh, okay, cool.
On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been?
Okay. So there's actually I do on the road. We do Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh, dear.
It's called Dear Evan Has Been. And so it's like, what? Oh my God, what is it? Because it's like, what? Okay, let me see. I have to go through the lyrics in my head, because it's like, it starts at the beginning of the song, and I'm found in the line. On the outside, I was looking. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because it's like, and I'm tipping over fast. I'm bordering obnoxious. I only work, and at the end it's like, I haven't worked since I left this cast. Dun 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 dun. I'm Evan Has Been.
That's hilarious.
Bad, right? It's mean.
So how many people are in the cast of Forbidden Broadway altogether?
So the classic arrangement is 2 guys, 2 girls, or like, two male presenting, two female presenting, and then a pianist. And but it's been different. When I did Next Generation, it was two guys, two girls, and we had a kid in the show. This really talented kid, Joshua Turchin.
Oh, I know Josh. Yeah, I met him.
Yeah,
I met him in New
yeah.
York.
Josh was in the show. We both did it together for a while, and but usually it's like two guys and two girls. But sometimes, when we did like this Forbidden Sondheim cabaret, that was like not this past fall, but the one before, like the year before we were off Broadway, and it was two guys, two girls, and then Christine Petty was there doing like specialty. She did like an Elaine Stritch number. She did this Angela Lansbury number. It was amazing.
And how many shows do you parody and eat for the show?
Oh my God. It really depends.
Is it the same every night, or is it like an improv show where it's different?
I would say there's like a core set that's the same, but that's why I always tell, like when we were off Broadway this fall, I always tell people to come see it in previews. Hi, Nora. Sorry, I got a cat going through my legs. I always tell them to come during previews because that's when we do like a lot of swapping in and out of stuff. And then, if we run long enough, which, we unfortunately weren't really able to do this time, but usually if you run long enough, then it's about, seeing stuff open. And if something opens and it's really splashy, like we were all hoping that we could get the run going longer so we could put in more Sunset Boulevard stuff and do like a Death Becomes Her number or something.
Yeah.
There was a lot. And this Tony season is going to be really, really wild, especially with like, for me, I look at like best leading actress. I'm like, this is going to be a freaking bloodbath this year.
Betty Boop the musical.
I know you got Boop, you got Audra, you got Redwood, you have Smash, you have Death Becomes Her. I'm like, ladies,
yeah,
you guys are going to have to do.
And there's like not spots like any gentleman.
I know. Somebody, whoever's, I haven't really thought about it, which is probably bad, but between best leading actor in a musical and best supporting, it might just be like some very deserving Broadway stalwart or newbie is probably just going to get a win that they really deserve.
Yeah. And so for the final one, this is Great Expectations from Outsiders.
Okay, great. Hit me with it.
So all these great expectations meet these grave elevations.
Okay. All these great expectations. And what's the second one?
Meet these great revelations.
Okay, all these great expectations meet these great revelations. And even harder flirtations with the mommies in the crowd.
And there's a lot of them for the Outsiders.
There's so many cuties. That's what we were trying to do when we parodied it off Broadway. We'd always like be singing these songs, we'd be singing the ballad and be singing about it, and then we'd be like, ugh. Whenever we walked out, we'd be like, just trying to flex as much as we could.
Do you guys like dress as the characters as well, or do you just wear like a normal
it's
suit?
always like you start like the show. It's funny. It's like it's very like vaudeville and cabaret still kind of based for like the structure of the show. So there's always an opening number that's like a straight up Forbidden Broadway opening number where we're just ourselves and we're in our like suits or our tuxes and dresses. And then after that, it's only just number after number after number in parody costume with wigs. Like, and sometimes it's a mix. Like when I did Ben Platt, like I was in my tux pants and my tux shirt, but then I had like a Ben Platt wig on and his like feather boa and like robe. So it's kind of like, it depends on the number, but usually, and Alvin Colt, who designed the original Guys and Dolls, used to do a lot of Forbidden Broadway costumes. So even the costumes themselves, and now Dustin Cross, who's done a lot of the recent costumes, kind of does the same thing of turning the costumes into, jokes out of themselves. Like I did like a very short little Oh Mary parody at the end of the show. And I would just come out in the dress with the curls as Cole. And I would always say, people be like, the Oh Mary was so funny. It was so funny. And I was like, it's the dress. It's just the dress and the curls. Yeah. And I'm just going out there and shaking it a little bit. But yeah, it's like, it really depends. But most of the time, there can be like super extravagant costumes.
That's awesome. So that's the interview today. I'd like to thank you for joining me.
You got it. Thanks so much, Timothy. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.